Just a line. Okay, now it's recording. Okay, I will just wait a couple of minutes. 1, 2. Okay, we are having already participants on our live webinar. I will just breathe a little bit before I start presenting myself and the episode. Okay.
Perfect.
So I think I will start. Welcome everybody to another episode of Wake Up by Waalaxy. I'm Sophia, your host. And before we start, I want to say something to you. But wait, I forgot to say, Wake Up is a webinar channel sponsored by Waalaxy, an automation tool for LinkedIn. And here is a space where we invite guest speakers that are experts on LinkedIn, automation, lead generation. Okay. And before I start, well, I'm a little bit nervous as usual. But today is an important day because I'm sharing some important news with you. Well, this is my last episode with Waalaxy, and I want to thank you all of you for joining me in this adventure. When I started with this Wake Up series, we were only 50 participants, and today we are 700 who joined on average each episode. So I'm very, very happy of this how do you say, logro?
Achievement.
Of this achievement. Sorry, I'm very, very nervous today. And so I want to thank you, all the guest speakers who joined me on each episode, and for you who watch me and everyone who shared their experience. And this means a lot because it was a challenge for me since it's my second language, and I have stage fright, right? So it was like a challenge, a big challenge, but I'm really, really happy that you joined me here. And I'm really happy to have Andrea as my last guest speaker. I'm not sure if the Wake Up webinars will continue since I'm leaving Waalaxy, but I think someone else will take the lead on this. But I wanted to share with you these important news. And well, that's it. So now I'm gonna present myself. Well, thank you, Tracy. I'll miss you too. But also, we can keep in touch on LinkedIn. If you want to search, my profile is Sofia Dominguez, Waalaxy, or something like this at the moment. And before we start, this episode is the second part of the first one that I did with Andrea. The first one was, I was the guest speaker and I shared all the information related to Waalaxy and how to do prospecting on LinkedIn. And this second part is to learn what's next. So if you already have warm leads on LinkedIn, what's next? How do you close those deals? Okay, so Andrea Micolta is the key account manager from NoCRM, and she will share with us what's next once you have your warm lead. So Andrea, do you want to jump in and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sophia. We're going to miss you so much. Everybody give it up for Sophia in the chat or in the Q&A. I'm very glad to see you again. My name is Andrea. I am the key account manager at NoCRM for the Americas. NoCRM, if you haven't learned about our platform, we are a software for lead management. And we focus on selling, unlike other tools that are available in the market. We see sales as a process that covers everything from having your first prospect until the point when you close them and they become a client with you. So drop me something on the chat if you are familiar with the tool. If you're not, at the end, we're going to be giving free trials for both Waalaxy and NoCRM. And let's just get started with the presentation that I prepared for today. Sophia, of course, if at any point you want to intersect, is more than welcome. Waalaxy and NoCRM are integrated and they're great tools working together. The idea of this webinar is how to improve your prospecting and your sales. So I'm going to start from the beginning. NoCRM, as I mentioned before, it's a lead management software. We are in contact with over 11,000 salespeople all around the world. Our platform is already available in 6 languages. And I wanted to open up this little space just to give you some advice, share my experience, and some tips even that I've had from different clients around the world with different industries when it comes to building the correct sales process and when it comes to prospecting. Okay, so let's talk about the sales process itself. So when you have an efficient sales process, you can close more deals. And it can be, I think the most important thing that we could say about a great sales process is that it has to be reproducible. Okay, what do I mean when I mention that a sales process has to be reproducible? Well, I mean that you can establish a framework for work within your team. Then you can easily onboard new teammates because the sales process is understandable, it's self-evident, and you can always come back and improve upon the sales process that you've built. Okay, I'm
Sorry.
gonna be, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just saw that the chat was disabled for them, but I already activated. I'm so sorry. It was, I think it was deactivated, but you can continue. Sorry.
Thank you so much. It's okay. If you do have questions, please write them up in the Q&A box. Then in the chats, you can leave the comments if you have any other questions for me or Sophia specifically. And at the end, we will make sure that we have, right, Sophia, some space.
Yes.
To
So the Q&A will be as usual at the end of the episode, and we will also share the replay if someone has this question already.
Yeah, and also we have a link for the first webinar that we did with Sophia. We can share that for you as well at the end, okay?
Yes.
So Sophia, as I was mentioning before, I have some experience working with people that are building sales processes and CRMs. And the common problems that I've encountered is that many people come to me in a consultation and they tell me, Andrea, I've worked with many CRMs, I've worked with Excel, and it's just an enormous list of things that I have to get through in order to work with a lead, which is cumbersome at best. It disempowers your team because they have to input all of this information in the system. There's too much measuring, there's too much KPIs that doesn't even reflect what the salespeople are actually doing on a day-to-day basis. And it has so many details and it's too technical that it ends up actually discouraging salespeople from closing the sale. Okay, so what do we need to focus more when we're building or when we're working with a tool like this? And that's why I want to encourage you to get to know NoCRM. We want to empower our team. We want to create a sense of ownership, understanding, and improvement. A good process, believe it or not, has to be simple. If the simpler it gets, the more feedback you can get from your team and the more you can work on improving them. Okay, so in this little space, I wanted to get some opinions on Sophia between the intersection of marketing and sales. Sophia, if you can tell me a little bit about how Waalaxy defines a target when you're kind of prospecting, I would love to hear your opinion in this section.
Sure. Well, it's very easy. It's not only with Waalaxy, but when you are defining your target, you need to know what are their needs, what are they looking for, who they are actually, what are their likes and interests and pain points, because that's how you will get to them with prospecting messages and campaigns. You need to know how to approach them, and in order to know this, you need to build your buyer persona. We share this in part one, where you need to segment your prospects in different groups, depending on their interests, or like maybe like Waalaxy. Waalaxy has like different clients. You can have agencies, you can have freelancers and entrepreneurs, you can have people who's looking for a job. So this way you will be able to define your approach, define your target. Yes, I will share on the chat part one, and then we will also in the replay, we'll share part 1 and 2, okay? Well, I'll let you continue. I will search for the link.
Thanks. Perfect. Thank you, Sophia. Yes, as she mentioned, the idea when you're intersecting marketing and sales, it's building that persona to make sure that you're talking to the right people. Once you've built this contact details and you've built this list, the ideal thing would be to reach out and start qualifying those leads and incorporate them into the sales process and the sales phase. And through sales activities, as you would do with any other CRM, you would lead those sales opportunities once they've been identified to closing. Okay, so how can we improve upon this process? I'm going to give you some general tips from my experience. Of course, if you have any other experience in the chat, you can share it with me. The first thing that I want to mention, and I know this might be a little counterintuitive, is beware of advice. Okay, when it comes to sales, advice is always welcome, but you, of course, have to analyze this advice and assess how it best benefits the industry that you're working with. So essentially, does this advice apply to me, or does it apply at all? And in this step, I would like to give you my first tip, which would be to count every step when you're creating a good sales process. Okay, so if you don't have the correct sales process, what follows is that you might get stuck and you might see all of the opportunities start to be lost at a certain part of the process. And if you're trying to focus on over optimizing this process instead of having a holistic approach, what you might end up with is something so specific that is not even relevant to the industry that you manage. What do I mean by this? So for example, a good sales process for me would be something that is straightforward. You contact the prospect, you qualify them, then the next process might be a little negotiation. Then there's a back and forth of maybe sending the proposal, and then you have the last step of closing. If you, instead of building this type of process, if you focus on kind of detangling every little sales activity that your team does, what you might end up doing is you might end up losing track of what you wanted to see in the first place. And that's why I highly encourage for the people that consult with me to create a process that you can A/B test if possible. What does this mean? It's a concept that comes from development, but essentially what you want to be able to do when you're building a sales process is you want to try it out. You want to see how it feels in real time when you're reaching out to your clients, when you qualify them. Does this work for the type of sales persona that you want to reach out? And you can modify accordingly. Okay, so
I love this because your sales process as well as your prospecting process is very different from one buyer persona to another, because one will need something totally different. So you have to have different process to succeed on this. And it's very, very important to have these both processes, like prospecting and sales, because if you get the prospect already and he's interested, but your sales process is not adequate, you can lose that sale.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And that actually, Sophia, that is the perfect segue for this slide that we have here. Because many sales teams, when they're encountering problems with their sales process, they think that they have a closing problem. And what they actually target is their salespeople. And salespeople might not even be aware that there's a closing problem, because problems might actually be there before your leads reach your sales process. What do I mean by this? As you mentioned before, you might have a problem with your target market. Maybe you're not reaching out to the correct contact. Maybe you're not even qualifying correctly. You're not understanding the need, so that you can propose something relevant to the person that is on the other side of the screen, on the other side of the table, on the other side of the negotiation. You're kind of missing out the point. You're creating a lot of noise for your salespeople, and it's not the closing problem that you had, but it might be the target that you're creating that is creating this area, this arena of not being able to close those sales, because more likely is you're not talking to the right people on the other side. And this is where I want to reach out to everyone to make note of the sales process that you currently have. Okay, mentally think about how you're reaching out to your clients, and I would encourage you to think about if this process is correct to what you actually want to achieve. What do I mean by this? It might be time every now and then to redefine your target, work together with marketing to build a good prospecting base, which you can do with tools like Waalaxy, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, if you're purchasing information from databases, Corporama, etc. And then work on the way that you are reaching out to those prospects. Once again, I would like to mention in this case Waalaxy, because you can create an automation together with LinkedIn to create a correct prospecting list that actually has information of cold prospects that might be interested in the product or service that you're offering. Okay, now
we are using Waalaxy with LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is where you will find your prospects. Like if you are into B2B business, that's where you will for sure find your prospects and be able to talk to them, because it's easier now to talk to a CEO or a founder on LinkedIn than just sending an email and hoping it will get to their inbox. So like it's a more personal way to treat with people, and I think it's great that you can prospect on LinkedIn, because it makes it like it's still digital, but it's human, still human, because you're talking to a person. So not like a random email you will send to someone and hope they will answer. So I think it's really nice to use LinkedIn for this.
Yeah, and actually social selling, I think it's the next big thing when it comes to B2C or B2B communication between companies. But as Sophia mentioned before, and we highly discussed this in our first interaction or our first webinar, you don't want to send an email, just kiss it away and send it out to sea and hope it reaches to someone that might be interested in what you have to sell, because you might not be getting to that second stage. What if you don't get a reply? What if you, for example, contact me, and I've had this happen to me before. I know, Sophia, maybe you have had this happen to you as well, but I've been offered English courses on my LinkedIn when I am fully bilingual, and you can see, because I have my profile both in English and in Spanish. I'm actually trilingual. I speak Russian. So let's talk about who you're trying to reach out. And once you reach out, provided you get a reply from the person that you're trying to reach at the other end, how do you get that LinkedIn prospect and get it to a phone? Or better yet, get it to a demo if you're selling something like what I do, which is software as service, right? Because you don't want to mess with these people's time. They're offering you a slot to hear you out. They want to see maybe if they want to change companies or providers or anything like this. You want to make sure that you're relevant, and then you're listening more than you're talking. And in this case, I wanted to see, Sophia, what do you think about the slide when you're identifying your target? How can we get a high value customer? How do we build this target correctly?
Wait, I was reading the questions on the chat, because there's Ray who's lost and it's not clear for him what's he's gonna learn today. So if you want to just sum up what you will share today for him, and then I'll join you in the slide.
Perfect. I don't know what I'm not able to see the chat. Sorry about that. I'm only able to see the Q&A box.
Well, so there's a discussion box just beside the.
I think it's because I'm sharing my screen, but anyway,
okay.
Just to summarize what we have been discussing, we want to help you build the correct sales process and make the most of the leads that you actually qualify. So my name, once again, it's Andrea. I am key account manager for the Americas at NoCRM. And we're covering everything from the qualification, building your ideal company profile, to the point where you actually close that sale. And of course, I'm going to talk about a little bit about how NoCRM can help you build that better sales profile. And sorry, I forgot the word for sales process. There you go. That is what we're going to focus today. Does that answer your question, maybe?
Let's see if Ray is clear for Ray. Well, I think it is. He says, thanks. Yes, it's good. Okay, do you want to answer some questions before we continue? Well, I think we can leave this for the end of the presentation, because yes, it's related to something I will share later. Okay, so how to define your ideal company profile? Yes, I think that sums up what you need to do. Obviously, I think you need also like a buyer persona. Like, I don't know if you agree that ideal company profile is not the same as the buyer persona. Mm-hmm. But I think this will lead you to what your buyer persona will be, which is really good.
Yeah, which is actually my next slide. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did see your
fine, it's
presentation,
fine.
but I forgot about it. Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But yes, that's true. You need to know whose company are you gonna target, and then you will know which person you will reach to get that sale.
Exactly, because as much as you would like to speak to anyone, let's say that I would like to reach out to someone at Google, with all due respects to all interns, because I was an intern once, you want to make sure that you're reaching someone with the seniority of making a decision at the end. You don't want to be talking or get stuck talking to the I don't know, the trainee that doesn't even have any decision power, and you can give them all of your time and you can give them all of your expertise. And at the end, they're just going to say, you know what, thank you so much, but I don't have the seniority to make the decision, or the decision process goes beyond me. And you spend all of your time talking not to the right person, which is highly frustrating.
And that
So
that has happened to me. Not for like to make a decision, but they have searched me and sent me their CV. And I'm not related to any human resources department, but they think they can get through me to get there. And I'm like, no, please do your research. You need to know who you're contacting. But yes, that's right. You really need to know who are you gonna contact, not to waste your time and their time. So this, yes, essential.
to mention something like that, you know what happened to me on LinkedIn the other day? I get thousands of connection requests, but then I got a connection request for a cab company to move the employees of my company in Colombia. And I am the only person that works at NoCRM in Colombia. How relevant is that? And I work from home. I don't even venture out to a coffee shop to work. I work from home because Colombia is dangerous. So what are you trying to sell? Who are you trying to reach? Who are you trying to talk to? Not even my boss. He works, I think, most of the time between Paris and London, and he doesn't even need the services. Who are you trying to reach out? That's what we
Okay,
were
you know, with this comment you did, I'm gonna send you all an article about how to use filters on LinkedIn, because maybe they just type Colombia and key account managers and that's it. So maybe you need to learn how to use LinkedIn filters, and I'm gonna send this to you in the chat so you can learn about this while Andrea continues.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Now, let's continue with the sales process. So I know I've thrown a lot of words back and forth, and you might be a little bit lost. What do you mean prospect? What do you mean a hot lead? At NoCRM, we have a clear distinction. I invite you to check our website, notcrm.io. We understand a cold prospect as a contact that you haven't reached out yet, you haven't qualified yet. You just know that they fall into your IPC, they fall into your buyer persona that you've created for the people that you want to reach out to, but you haven't made their first contact, okay? Once you qualify them, you create them as a lead, which is on NoCRM, an identified business opportunity. That's a great difference from other CRMs on the market. And then you carry out the sales activities until the point of closing. This is very important because you don't want to overwhelm your sales team with having thousands of identified business opportunities, which turned out just to be contacts from a database that you haven't even gotten on the phone, not to mention even qualified, right? So what do I mean about qualification? This is the most important sales step when it comes to sales, okay? So it's the minimum objective is to validate the key characteristics. And if they're okay, if they fall into your list of possible buyer personas, make an appointment or move forward in whichever way you move forward within your sales process at your company, okay? So who is the point of contact? Is he a decision maker? What is the seniority, or what position does he carry out in the company? Do they have an identified need? Do they have a project? Do they have a budget? Believe it or not, people reach out to me many times trying to figure out what NoCRM is, and they don't even have a definition of a project. They don't even have a timeline on how long it would take them to make that decision and get a CRM like ours. So I have to make sure that I identify that need, that I understand that there's a time frame, or even there's a slightless inclination towards purchasing a tool like ours, or if there's not, at least someone that is willing to listen of what NoCRM is about. Okay, you don't want to discuss with the intern, even if they're really nice. Your time is precious. And how can we help you do this? I'm going to share the link for our call script generator afterwards, because the link that I have here, it's in French, but we do offer this tool for free, and it's in English and it's in Spanish as well. Prospects love it. You can create a sales script from scratch. You don't even have to have no CRM in order to use it. And this script specifically can help you improve the abilities of your salespeople. For me, when I first entered the company, I encountered the sales script that we currently have. It really helped me because sometimes you don't have to talk, you have to listen. And learning to listen and learning to ask the correct questions to the person that is on the other side of the line, that is the way that you need to help your team to qualify. Be consistent, help them improve their abilities when it comes out to qualifying. And this way, once you've qualified the prospect correctly, you can make sure that the people that reach out the sales process are the ones that have even a glimmer of interest in the product or service that you're offering. So as I mentioned before, you want to make the right proposal. And in order to collect that information, you have to listen, and not just listen, but actively listen. Make sure that you have follow-up questions to the information that they're providing for you. You're not fighting these people. You don't want to jump in a demo and just straight away, I don't know, Sophia, if this happened to you, but sometimes as soon as you jump on a conversation or you even accept an email, they're just sending you links for demos, and then you're sending you links for this and that. And they don't even know you. They haven't even asked your name, and they want to fight you basically over a product.
I know. Yes, I think you should consider, like, spend time on what you're gonna say to your prospect, because selling it right away will only make you lose your prospect if this is just like a buyer persona, but you're not sure they need your product. Because sometimes, yes, it could work, but most of the time you need to warm your lead, make them fall in love with you. And if you go straight to the point, I think sometimes it's too aggressive and it's just a no. It depends on who's your client, but if they really need you. So sometimes you need to be smooth and do it, like, be patient. Like, this is, I don't know if the word is courtesy, but like, make them fall in love with you. Like, think like, as if it's your next boyfriend or girlfriend. That's it.
I would say I would call it business flirtation, because you're still providing accurate information. You're still being proactive as a salesperson. You are talking about the product that you have, but you're not jumping at them as if you were a tiger. You're trying to create a conversation and you're trying to leave them with something. So for me right now, if after this conversation, you just live with a little bit of interest at No CRM and you visit our website or even my LinkedIn profile, I think my job is done, because I've sparked interest in you. And that's what a good SDR should be doing. And that's what a good sales process should be supporting the SDR to do. Okay. So continuing, once you've qualified your lead, you don't want to close the deal on the first call. If the first call goes well, you need to beware. You need to define those steps and make the sales process accordingly to the industry or the product or service that you're selling. Remember, you define these steps. You define the activities of the team that you're working with, okay? You have the opportunity to measure your team's activities and your activities at every step, and you can go back and collaborate because you're dealing with people, okay? I know we sell SaaS, software as service. It's supposed to help optimize things, automate even, like Waalaxy, but there's always someone behind that computer. There's always someone behind the line, someone who is a live person, and you want to make sure that you work with them to improve, because if they improve their abilities as salespeople, you improve your revenue and you close more sales.
I agree with you, because using automation doesn't mean you will not do anything. Automation is here to make you improve your time or make you improve process, but you should remember that you're still talking to human and there are some improvements that should be made. And also we should remember that everything Andrea and I are sharing today, it's something that works for us, but you can personalize this, you can change this. This is not like the thing you should specifically do. You need to modify this to your business, your approach, your buyer persona. These work for us, but this is just, we are sharing our experience and what we have learned in other webinars and stuff, but you need to know that this is not like a rule. This is just a suggestion that you should follow, but it should work. It might work for you, but you need to personalize this according to your business.
Exactly. And I have this little example here in French of what a sales process might look like. Remember, this is not a straitjacket, as Sophia mentioned. We have the qualification stage in which you're trying to get to know the buyer persona, if they're interested in your product or not. Then you have your first meeting. Hopefully, if the first meeting goes well, you can push for a second meeting, then have a negotiation or an offer proposition of value where you're talking to your customer and showing them what you've got. And then finally, we can move into the closing stage. Okay. So as I mentioned before, as a manager, as a salesperson, you want to have control over your pipeline. You want to make sure that the sales opportunities that actually appear on your pipeline are qualified leads. You don't want to be working with a bunch of contacts that you haven't been able to reach out yet. That's why we have the definition between a prospect and a contact and an identified business opportunity or a lead within NoCRM. And as you see here, it's very easy to use. It's very easy to manage. You can just drag the opportunities from step to step and make sure that the salespeople are empowered by the sales process that you built. What do I mean by this? They should feel they can take charge of the activities they're going to propose for their clients. Okay, so if you're familiar with NoCRM, by the way, check it out. We have this status loop right here. When I have a lead or a business opportunity on standby, it means that I have planned an activity for the future. And once the day comes, you get a notification from our system, and then your lead turns to do, which means that you've actually planned an activity for today. And this is going to go on and on and on and on until hopefully you have been able to close your deal. So closing the deal, make sure that you have all of this information regarding the sales process for your team. Make sure that you are able, or you have a tool in which you can collaborate, and even as a manager, just drop in every now and then and give advice to your sales managers, and be able to have feedback from them on how the sales process is working from them. To summarize, an ideal sales process should encompass a good identification of what your buyer persona or your IPC looks like. Then once you move forward to creating a good list of co-prospecting, you should be able to qualify them correctly. Once you qualify them and you pipeline them into your sales process, you should continue your sales activity until you are able to make the proposal, give a good value proposal for the needs of your client that you actually listen to, and then of course, close the deal. That is my presentation for today, Sophia. I would love to hear questions.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, I wanted to add that for the first two steps is when Waalaxy jumps in, because that's where you will make the identification of your prospect, and then you will prospect, do all the prospecting process. And then we have a native integration with NoCRM, where you will be able to send your lead to NoCRM and do the whole flirting process and follow up of the sales process. So someone has, I think there were some questions at the beginning of the presentation. Just let me. Yeah.
If you want, I can take care of the Q&As, and you can check if there are questions on the chat.
Yes.
Is that okay? Perfect.
That's good. Okay, so the first one is I will start with Jorge Clemente, I think, or George. Yeah. Well, I speak Spanish, so Jorge, I think, is from like Latin America or Spain. So how do you manage saturation on LinkedIn? All of us have our LinkedIn inbox full of junk messages. Prospects are less interested in checking even every single message on LinkedIn as well as email. Well, that's Why? First of all, you need to have an optimized profile. You need to have an attractive profile. Your buyer persona enters here because depending on what they're interested in, you should pimp up your profile. If you're looking for people who's interested in a specific thing, you need to adequate your profile, your header, your banner to feel so as I'm sorry. So you adequate this profile to them. So once you send them a message, once you send them a connection request or a visit, if they go to your profile, they will be like, okay, I'm interested in this guy or not. Yes. So I will continue a conversation about LinkedIn messaging. Yes, it's full of young sometimes, but we have this new tool on Waalaxy that's called Inbox Waalaxy, where you will be able to manage your inbox, LinkedIn inbox, creating tags for them. You can also save replies. So if you're not interested in a lot of messages, you will just use the save reply not interested, and you will just click enter and send it to whoever you want. You can also schedule messages. If some of your prospects are like, yeah, I'm interested, but I'm on holidays, please contact me again in a month. You can set up a reply, a message, schedule message, so they will just send the message whenever they are ready. And you can also schedule reminders. So if a person said, yes, let's have a meeting tomorrow, and you need a reminder on LinkedIn, we will schedule a reminder for you. Well, you need to schedule it, but you can do everything on Inbox Waalaxy. This is an add-on from Waalaxy that you can use. And this also helps you because sometimes after the first message with your prospect, the prospect on Waalaxy exits the campaign. A campaign is a sequence of actions that you send on LinkedIn, but you can continue on the LinkedIn messaging. So this is a new cool tool that we have and that you can use. You can ask for the free trial. And I think this will help you manage your LinkedIn messaging. Then we have Tracy, who says, however, LinkedIn search, even when with Navigator, does not accurately find the right people. How can we overcome that? Well, I already shared with you some articles. I think I don't know. I'm not sure about this question because yes, sometimes it's not accurate, but maybe you can start. Yes, you can start trying to contact them and see if they are interested or if they are actually on that country, because yes, it's true that sometimes even if the profile is in English, they don't speak English, or like there's some random things that can happen. But I think that you can just be human and be like, I'm so sorry, I did a bad search. But I think that with the articles I shared with you, you can find a great prospects using filters, and the location filter is very, very good. Apparently, Camila, our SEO expert, did an article about it, and she tried everything. So I think it's really nice. And you will learn a lot from the location filter. Then we have, how is this? Okay, I sent them the script generator you shared. I sent them the link, but someone is asking, how is it compatible with all CRMs?
Well, it's a tool actually that you can use externally from no CRM. It's not, you cannot integrate it, but it's a free tool for you to qualify, and you can just create your own sales script. I've heard about people using it even on Excel. So it's just a good exercise for you as a manager or for your salespeople in creating the appropriate questions and using them when qualifying. Check it out. We have some templates, but you can create one from scratch as well.
Okay, good.
Sophia, is there any other questions on the chat? Yeah.
Well, someone is asking about the links I shared. I will share you the link to our blog, where you will find all the information about LinkedIn, how to prospect, filters, buyer persona. I will share you the link of our replay, part 1 and 2, and of other webinars we have done together. Well, I have done with other guest speakers related to lead generation. And someone says, will this webinar get into best ways of getting in front of solid, already qualified databases beyond email blast? Well, I think this is another topic. I think we have I think there's one related to this topic. I will try to find it. It was John Costello. I don't have a pen. I will just put it here and I will try to send it to you on LinkedIn or something, John. Peter says this was very good. We love no CRM. Do not multiple salespeople using it. We have multiple salespeople using it. So you have a customer here.
Yay, thank you so much, Peter. Yes, and we do work in the US. I know there was another question regarding
Yes.
that. I would like to apologize to Pedro about my comment from Colombia. I just work remotely, and even I know the place where I live, it's not very dangerous, but I would not venture out necessarily a lot with my laptop, if that makes any sense. Any other questions on the chat, or can I move on
Yes.
to our Q&A?
Ray says, if someone has accepted a connection request, which has a note explaining the reason, contacting them, but then ignore the next message, is there a tactic or question to ask to get them talking? Ray, please tell me if you're still in the chat so I can send you the link to our follow-up messages, because I think we have really cool articles related to this topic. And then, do some profiles auto-accept connection requests? Is this part of the reason for the connect then silence? Well, I do sometimes accept people without reading their messages because I think it's not related, but maybe I'm interested on their profile. So a follow-up, it's a nice thing to do. And sometimes you do accept people, but you're on your phone and then you forgot about the LinkedIn messaging or whatever. So a follow-up, I think it's essential. I will share you an article related to this. And then I'm looking for business owners of companies with more than 5 employees. I keep getting employees and self-employed. Okay, Tracy, let me see if I can find an article related to this.
Yeah, and actually in our first—
Do you have any suggestion of this?
Yeah, actually, Sophia, in order to help you while you look for the links,
yes,
in our first installment of the webinar that we had with Waalaxy, we talked about creating the correct message. And many of the questions were, should it be relevant for us to add a note when I'm adding some unknown person on LinkedIn? Is it relevant? Is it not? It kind of depends. And I love the examples that Sophia gave on that first installment of our webinar. So we will be sharing that as well, as she mentioned before.
That's true. I forgot about everything I shared, but this is true. Like part 1 is very relevant and it's exactly what you're looking for in these questions. Okay, I'm just gonna search for John Costello video and I'm just trying not to forget. And Tracy, okay, so the follow-up link. I will try to send you everything that we shared today on the replay email, okay? Yes, I will. I'll promise I'll send you all the links. I'm gonna just put it somewhere. If you want to continue reading the questions, it's perfect.
Sure. I just saw Holly in one of the chat. She was actually a client of mine. Hi, Holly. Thank you so much for joining. I shared my Calendly. I think Peter was asking for my Calendly. If you want to book a time with me, if you want to up your game or want to join another webinar, remember that I usually have the English webinars on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Colombian time. I'm going to move on to the Q&A because I already have 5 questions over there, if you don't mind. Is it possible to integrate LinkedIn chat with NoCRM? So the way that NoCRM connects to LinkedIn, it's more through automations. The best example that I can give right now is through an automation with Waalaxy, because you can send messages and you can send connection requests. So it's not, LinkedIn works more like kind of an inbox, if you will. And what you can do on NoCRM is you can create emailing campaign through LinkedIn, through Waalaxy. And once certain amount of actions have been completed, if the person accepts you, or if they reply to your first message, you can create that on Waalaxy. You can either create that contact as a prospect on NoCRM or create it already as a lead, okay? We talk about that extensively on our first installment of the webinar. You can check that out. But yes, NoCRM can connect to LinkedIn in that manner. There are other tools that connect to NoCRM and LinkedIn, but more on the prospecting sides. I have another webinar with Casper. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, where I discuss how you can get information from LinkedIn so that you can build up more of a database and create leads as well. But it's kind of different from what you're mentioning before. Gary, will it be possible to get a copy of the slides after the event somehow? I can check that out. I can see if I can send them to you. I need to talk to my marketing team if that's possible, but I think so. And Gary mentioned, how do you find out if they have recently raised funds? I think it's more of a question for Sophia. I think you mean when you're trying to get a lead on LinkedIn or a prospect on LinkedIn that it's from a company that's recently raised funds. Does that make any sense?
Well, the only thing that comes to my mind is that maybe you can search for what type of content are they sharing on LinkedIn, and you can use a filter. I can't remember the name of the filter, but you can find this filter on Sales Navigator, so you can see if they are sharing information about raising funds. I think this could help. Also, there's another tool called Brand 24. This tool is very nice if you wanna, if you will complement your if you want to add to your prospecting strategy a content strategy, it's very nice to use this tool, Brand 24, because you can search a content related to anything related to your business and see who's sharing this, because one important thing to do when you are doing a content strategy is to comment other posts, like other posts, and just be present among your, like, all the content related to your business, because this way you will start to get new followers that will be interested on your profile, and then they will start following your feed, So these can help. I think this is a good way to know if they are raising funds, because normally they share these on their feed. That's the only way I can think about it. But if you have any other idea, someone in the chat can share this, but I have no idea how to do it otherwise.
Yeah, I think also kind of building your own LinkedIn profile as well works. I've been working on my LinkedIn profile for a long time now, and then I'm getting suggestions of content, sorry. And then within that content, you can see other types of businesses that are similar to mine, or maybe people that I've worked with before share something interesting for me, and I maybe can use that information for further prospecting if I were interested in doing something like that. And then I work on my own profile just by sharing information that I think is relevant for my audience. So I know Sophia's case is pretty relevant. You should share her, see her page. But in my case, for example, I shared an invite for webinars like this. I share relevant content from the company that I work for, which is NoCRM. And then just people kind of, I don't know, they get the ball rolling. I don't know if Sophia, if that's something that has happened to you. People see you on YouTube and they're like, I need to talk to that person. You mentioned before that they reach out and want to apply to a job on Waalaxy just because they see you as a CM or maybe the face of the webinars. But yes, I would suggest also working in general on your LinkedIn profile. It really works. Now, if anybody has any other questions or comments, I was so glad to see you, Sophia. I can't believe this is your last webinar.
Thank you. It was an honor to do this last episode with you, my Latin American sister. Thank you all for joining us today. It was a pleasure to share with you all these episodes together. Thank you very much for your support and everything you have said and participate on all the episodes we have done together. I'm very, very happy to have lived this adventure with you, and we'll keep in touch on LinkedIn. And thank you very much. Thank you. And I'm going to show you something because he's been here the whole time. Well, this is my dog. This is a pet-friendly office, and he comes to the office too. He has a LinkedIn too. His name is Gonzo, and today is his last day too. So thank you very much to everyone here, and we'll see you. Well, I won't see you in the next episode, but I will see you on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is, well, I'll share with you my LinkedIn before we go.
Yes, and they're also asking, we will be sharing the recording along with the email that Sophia mentioned before. So don't worry about that. I'm going to be also sharing my LinkedIn. And if you want to see my Calendly or want to chat with me regarding NoCRM, please also book time with me. It was really nice to see you again, Sophia.
And someone is asking, where am I going to go? I'm not sure yet. I'm going to take a break. I will stay in France for sure. And I think I'm going to pursue my dream, which is opening a taco place. I'm not sure yet, but well, you can follow my LinkedIn page and we'll see each other somehow. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Have a good day.
Too. Bye.